after the lecture. I will normally put any of these slides up before your lecture, but it's your first week, so you can ease in, so you can take notes on them as we're in class. So there's a link here, link into it. It has nothing to do with the program directors anymore. It's all through the Students' Union. So there's a lot of information there about becoming a class rep, the election process, there are dates. I know some of you might think you're first year to the university, but when they talk about first years, they're on about the first year undergrads in terms of those dates, so don't get caught out. Because I think, is it the 15th or something is the closing date? They call it returning students, but you're new, so you probably kind of think, oh, I have a few more days. You don't. So if you're interested, go through the Students' Union, the election process, and then after that, whoever gets nominated, please let me know. Last year they didn't come to me until like week 6, and I was like, I did not know who my class reps were. So generally they kind of give digital marketing 2. So hopefully they'll continue on that. I like a team to work with. Your class reps then are responsible not only for all these activities that you're going to be doing outside your lectures, but as the main communication pipeline to me as program director. So they will represent you, any issues with your lecturers and with the program director. I check in just to see how things are going in about week 6, just to see what's happening on the ground. Are we all okay? Have we, gotten over, how are we getting into the middle of things? What are we doing? And I keep that going throughout the year. So it's an important connection. It's important to have good communication. It's important to have good empathy. It's important to be an all-rounder. So please think of everybody around you, because that's who you're representing when you put yourself forward for the election process. So that's everything about that. Inbound marketing. So as you know, a lot of the time when we think about inbound marketing, you're probably there going, well, isn't that what we came here to do, Patricia? Yes, you did. But you have to start thinking, a lot of you may be more familiar with outbound. And if you've taken, a lot of you as you're talking there, you took advertising. If you're doing communications or whatever that you might be doing. You have to start thinking about, okay, how do we work at the heart of inbound? And what you have to get into is that mantra of the customer is always right is really coming to the fore in inbound marketing work. They are the crux of why you do inbound marketing. The best companies in the world, where they adopt the funnel approach, and then they let those that come through back out the pipeline, and away they go, never to be seen or heard or spoken to again. What you're going to learn in inbound is we operate on a flywheel. So it's no longer a funnel, which is the old, more traditional outbound sales-orientated focus. Now you're in a flywheel. It's moving, it's spinning, and the whole crux is that once they're in, you keep those customers with you. You churn, you understand every life cycle that they're in, every aspect, whether they're in attention, attraction, whether you're engaging with them, whether you want to delight them, all the different pieces of content in the puzzle that you have for all the different segments that you're dealing with in your marketing strategy. So a lot of people tend to classify your customers as one group, or by age or demographics. It's important that you take psychographics, their behaviors, what they're doing, look at your analytics in your companies, where are they going on your website, all these basic data, but to pull it all together. So looking at one source of information alone is not going to give you the information you need to keep that flywheel moving. And if you look at your flywheel, the very center is called growth. A lot of companies forget that. It's not just the ability to grow, it's the ability to sustain your growth and compete against your competitors. Because you can compete, no problem, but unless you have a flywheel and a growth mentality, your competitors are going to surpass all your marketing efforts. And that's what you're doing in this module, and you're going to do that by using content creation as one subset of that aspect of actually getting your inbound marketing strategy correct. So it's a lot more than just the content. That's one piece of the puzzle. There's many other aspects that you need inbound to fit into. And we talk about inbound, but you need to work backwards and understand that that fits into your marketing strategy, that fits into your sales strategy, it fits back into the strategy of your company in the very first place, and how you treat or how you think about your customers. Lots of learning outcomes. They're all lovely and they're on your course outline, and you can read them again. Lecture times, as you know, just in case, because with ripplings and cancellations, this is your lecture format. Again, they will release Mondays, and that will become really important for presenting groups, because you're going to be listening to that and developing your presentation by the Thursday class. as well as other aspects to that. So they were released on Mondays. You have that. Then what I do is a flipped classroom approach. So don't get too comfortable in your seats, because I'm going to have you up drawing out on the walls. You're going to be thinking things through. We're going to be doing. The process is, I don't want you sitting in your seat for 2 hours. You might notice I walked around quite a lot. I don't like to be stuck behind the podium. That's the ethos. We're going to flip this on its head. You learn what in the lecture Mondays, and we're going to put it into action. We're going to work on it for different types of companies. Lots of you here are coming with lots of experience. We're going to work on that together. Build that team mentality so that we understand, okay, what does BMW do? What does Adidas do? What does Disney do? And we put that into practice, and then you can put that into your assignments for the company. So we won't be working on the company that you're going to be working for each week. We're going to be working on different examples. So you can think it through from lots of different perspectives. Again, any questions, you can pop them up on Canvas. Anything of a personal nature, please contact me directly by email, or book an appointment to see me, or knock on my door. But just, we have an open door policy but we do remote working as well, so please don't be disappointed and go, Patricia, where were you? I called your office. Just know that sometimes I work from home as well, so I will be available on Zoom if it's absolutely urgent, or I could be in meetings all day. Best to always just, if I'm not there, pop me an email. I get to see you as soon as possible. This is your assessment. One group element only. That's it. One group presentation. You really need to work on your communication skills. So this is the moment to push yourself, to get that confidence. Wasn't that hard? You've already done it. You did it this morning. You did a great job. So don't be nervous on the days you're presenting, okay? Everyone here is in the same boat. Everyone here is trying to get grades. So push yourself to get that little bit more confidence. What I always say is confidence, not arrogance, is really important. So you will have a group presentation, and I will just point out, right at this moment to you all sitting here, you see 15, you see 35, and you see 50. Think about that as 30, 70, and 100, because this is a 10 credit module. So when you see 15, this is worth double of a presentation if you did it in research methods, or if you did it in social media marketing theory. So really put your all into it, because these are the subjects, as Declan told you on Monday, that can make the big difference. That presentation can make the difference between you moving from one band into the other in your overall program degree. So give it your all when you're down here. And the crux of this is it's a group presentation. So you can be fantastic. And they're in groups of 5. Well, for later arrivals, they're kind of going down to 4. But you have to work as a group. I have to see unity. I have to see where this is discussed. I can always detect, I'm doing this, you're doing that, you do this, you do that, research it, we come back together, put the slides in, and off we go. I can see that. That's not called group presentation. That's called all individuals just talking to the class, pretending we're a group. So that's the ethos. So you have to think about it from a group perspective, group dynamic. So there will be marks watching all of this. And I am a trained observer. Research is my background as well. So I will give you some tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do. So again, this is the time for you to really practice those skills and stand out, because those skills are going to work for you when you go for companies. When guest speakers are here and you want to ask a question, they'll get you noticed. Inbound marketing content strategy. So, I know everyone loves content, and you will be doing a little bit of content in that first assignment, but you cannot produce anything until you understand your customers first. So a lot of that assignment is based on understanding customers, doing persona research, understanding where they are, what they do, social listening, and creating the narrative and the story. So you can't just go, okay, I want to create a video, I want to do a landing page. No. You have to understand your customers first before you can do all that beautiful content creation. So there's a lot of homework that you'll be doing, and this will really vary in with research methods and the skills that you're going to be getting from Sinead. So you're doing a lot of social listening and looking at social media, websites, forums, everything like that, to understand the persona from the perspective of the company, creating that persona. Then creating content calendars. You'll be getting into inbound marketing campaign assets. So you're going to be looking at landing pages, thank you pages, emails, animated GIFs, You're going to be looking at storyboards for videos, short videos, social media posts, everything like that. So, for those of you who are finessed and experienced, please bear in mind the pace of this program is for those who have experience, those who don't have experience. So, you'll be getting all of what you should be doing, what's there, and remember, all of this is designed in partnership with HubSpot, so it's at the forefront of what they do, how they do it with their clients, and the business that they're in. The briefs will go up, so we'll be talking about assessment kind of week 2, week 3, so hopefully the company will have confirmed by next week that they're on board. So it's a great national brand, but local to the West of Ireland, is all I can say. This is your book. It's an oldie, but it's a good one, okay? It's very hard to find inbound marketing books, which you may have realised. 2014, why there's so much readings. Your readings, unlike for other modules which would be based on a lot of academic literature, this is industry literature. So this is all, you're looking at guides, you're looking at worksheets, you're looking at blog posts, and they're not there to look pretty or the links on your module outline. Click in, read. I know this week is a bit different because I spent an hour where we're kind of going through things, getting to know each other, but from next week onwards it's really important that those links, you are familiar with them because it will form the basis of what we're doing together around the room in terms of activities and exercises. Another one, which is a nice book, it's not essential to get, but if you're kind of thinking, how do I generate ideas? How do I come up with ideas? It's a nice book. They're very small books. There's lots of second-hand versions of this. They are in the library as well. So again, that's not core, but it's just nice to help you get going if you're kind of that procrastinator that doesn't know, how do I come up with an idea for this? What should I do? It's just a nice textbook. And they're price friendly as well. On Amazon, I think they're like £15, £12, and then their second-hand ones are like 60 cents. And the alumni will have lots of copies as well. So it's important to get your hands on them. Here's a little disclaimer from me, okay? I'm going to start talking like your inbound marketers and content creators. So you're doing now. You're doing the work experience for companies. So I'm going to be talking like your customers, your company. So this is the mindset that you're in. So as far as I'm concerned, you are digital marketers now. You are inbound marketers. You are content creators. So whether you want to be applying it to the company we're looking at or different companies, that's the mindset that we're in. And I just want you to remember that when we are looking at content, so what do you think is more important? Inbound marketing or content marketing?
Both.
Both? Okay. Who agrees? Okay. Who thinks inbound is more important? Okay. One, two, three, four. Who thinks content? 5. Who thinks content is more important? And you're all right, because it depends where you're coming from. But I did give you a slight hint about 5 minutes ago. Content marketing is seen largely as a subset of inbound marketing. Because you produce the content, but if you don't have the strategy for which you actually are putting the content out there, then it's going nowhere. It's not going to anybody. So you can create the most remarkable content. You can have the most fabulous blog post or podcast. But if you haven't thought about who you're targeting, if you haven't thought about what they do, where they are, where they consume their media, then it's just sitting there. That's like outbound marketing. You're hoping it's just going to reach them, but you haven't thought about it yet. So while content marketing is critical, and it will get you what you need, it will help delight your customers, but you need that inbound strategy first in place to understand. And that's why I talked to you there about your assessment. The first one is looking at that strategy. It's understanding your customers, creating that persona, and really giving it what they need. And the problem is you might think, okay, well, we have one persona. We have one personas that are very different stages. So some could be just in the attraction stage, some could be in a decision stage, some could be in consideration stages. So you have to tailor your content for all. And the companies that are out there that say, oh, I'm great, we have a lot of content, but are you actually segmenting it according to where they are in relation to your company? What they're doing? So if you're putting one piece out there hoping that's going to educate, that's going to bring them in, and that's going to get them to, move the items out of their basket and actually check out, then you're losing already because you're only targeting one group, and it may be to attract them, and then you're forgetting that they're still there. You've probably all gotten those reminders saying, oh, would you like to check out the 4 items that you're sitting in your basket right now? So they're trying to move you through the flywheel approach. They're trying to get you out of that consideration or out of attraction into consideration and decision making. They're really trying to push you through. So that's what you have to consider when you're making all these decisions. And it may seem very intuitive, but it's very difficult if you don't understand who you're working for. And if you don't understand where they're coming from. Next week I'll show you can have very, very good demographic information in your company, but if you don't understand the psychographic information, then you're actually targeting very different people that you think are in one homogeneous group. And it's important to understand that. And that's a lot where we're going to talk next week in terms of social listening, the stories that you need to tell, and the companies that are absolutely fantastic at getting those stories across. So you've probably watched a lot of this information. And again, think of David Attenborough. There's a man that gets a story across. I mean, would you watch a lot of those nature programs if it wasn't David Attenborough that was narrating them? Probably no. Would I be watching all the others? But it's that they draw you in. They've done their homework. They know how to empathize with you. They know how to draw out the emotion and tell the story to change your behavior. Companies do the same thing. We just had a great conversation there, Abby, about Coca-Cola. Don't tell Christine, she's in social marketing. Coca-Cola is not great in the social marketing field, but from a traditional marketing perspective, they're what you call the people that draw you in. They're really great because they don't even have to. They're so recognized. Their brand is synonymous with them. The color red is synonymous with them. They have all the eyeline aisles are placed in the aisles. So their inbounds, they're like, really have to really work it. We create great content, but everybody knows us. Wouldn't it be great to be that company? No, you have to work at it to get to be that brand if you want to work there. And if you read chapter 1 in your book, Barack Obama did that in the elections. So whatever background, whatever kind of party you follow, regardless of that, watching his campaign and inbound marketing techniques was phenomenal when he wanted to be elected president. So again, everyone thought Hillary Clinton, she's going to win it, or the Republican Party, they know their people. But what he did is he said, I don't have half the budget. I don't know what to do, but I understand Facebook. I understand Twitter. And rather than McCain, who just did outbound and said, here you go, here's a post. I'm not looking at any of your comments, I'm not looking at anything back. He was talking at everybody. So he was doing outbound marketing. Barack was having conversations. So he was like, yes, I empathize, I see what you're doing. So he was really taking that inbound. He understood the strategy that was there that built his momentum across all social media platforms. Suddenly he was relatable. Suddenly he had make sure that you actually have your ability to vote, the widget, on his actual pages, which boosted his numbers. I think was it McCain had about 600,000. He got was it over 2 million just by having that widget on his social media platforms. So when you look at that, his strategy, he knew what to do, making sure, yes, you're on my media platforms, but I want to make sure you're voting too. And you can cast your vote, and it's all relatable. So the company, you want to be with people, you want to live the moment with them, you want to be on that journey with them. And you do that through content marketing. You do that as a subset of your inbound marketing strategy. So it's really important that you dovetail both of those together. So, and that's why I have inbound marketing and content creation in this course. Because yes, you need both. It's not an and or. Both have to work together to get that flywheel. And if you look at best companies, you don't want to stagnate. You don't want to have a really good flywheel and then suddenly it stops churning and it just goes and you're going backwards. That's where you have the friction. So suddenly something's happening with your customers. Suddenly you were so successful, you forgot to check back in. You forgot to look at that delight state. You forgot to repurpose your content. So you think, oh, my content is still up to date, it's great, but maybe there's something wrong. Maybe their issue, they came to you for one problem, but now you're not thinking about the 10 other problems they now need to solve. So all that repurposing your content is going to be hugely important. We do that at the back end of the course, but it's important now that you understand that. Watch all the companies that constantly update all their materials. Because people's behavior patterns, your consumption patterns change. Different, and you probably see this all the time, Pestel. You have to be familiar with it if you come from a business management background. The Pestel framework. That changes and shifts the way you look at your strategy. So again, COVID is probably the biggest factor that shifted a lot of this. And everyone was online. Everyone loved it. We were all online consumers. It was like Zoom parties, everything like that. But now there's the fatigue. So now it's even harder for you in a company to get your content out there because people are just fed up of being online. And then the younger generation live for online. So you have this dynamic that you're trying to work with if you're a company targeting multiple audiences. So you want to appeal to all. So you can't say, okay, we're going to get on this platform for this audience, another platform. It has to be one coherent strategy. And work that backwards into marketing strategy. You have to be saying one consistent message to all. Not we have this message for this demographic, this message for another demographic. It has to be consistent with your overall marketing strategy. And that's where students will fall down. That's where people won't think. And every year I live and I look at assignments and I hear, for a discount, do this. And then for the next aspect, we're going to offer another discount on something else. And they're okay. From a marketing point of view, what you're doing is you're adjusting a customer reference point. So let's talk about, maybe the ladies in the room will understand simple wipes. Or simple, anyone in the room will understand. Simple makeup wipes. So for a long, long time, they had 2 for €5. A long, long time. A long, 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 long time. And the problem became, people were like, I'm not paying, is this $3.89 or something for one pack? That's ridiculous. It's $2.50 if I buy. But they ran it for so long that when they actually stopped the promotion of bundle, that people were there going, I'm not buying those, I'm going to some other brand. Because you adjusted the customer reference point. So whenever you think in your assignments for any of your subjects, think about the impact of discounts. Think about that. Because it's easy to say, oh, we're going to have a discount. And if you're going to tell me you're going to have a discount, tell me what percentage you're going to have as a discount. Because that has an impact. Is it going to be 10%? I had students who would tell me we're going to run at 10%. Then if that doesn't work, we're going to do 20. If that doesn't work, we're going to run 30. I said, oh my gosh, is this company making any money by the time you're finished? Because remember, at the end of the day, this is all one subsection of a company. And what are they there to do? Make money. Have customers. So just think through the arguments and the logic when you decide these are the decisions that you're going to make. And what you're going to see is you need to back this up with evidence and research. And that's the point when we get into a master's level. So undergrads will throw those ideas out there and you say, okay, you're learning. When you get to a master's level, I want you to think through 2 questions. This will get you through critical thinking and critical writing. And what I call is the so what formula. Why is this important? How is this important? And when you start to push yourself into that, you stop thinking about the what, the where, the when. You're getting into why and how. So you can justify the evidence, the backing it up. And that makes you a more critical marketer. That makes you more in tune with your audiences. That gives you that customer perspective because your content acts as your voice. And yes, you can get it wrong and go do it again and again. But if you start wrong, it's very hard to actually correct. So mistakes are entitled, but in a company, that costs a lot of money. So if a company is putting 100,000 into a campaign and you don't do your due diligence and your homework to understand your customers and it flops, don't think you're getting 100 grand a second time to do it. So it's about that iterative process of understanding what you're going for and what you actually need to do.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so you were explaining the example of maker wipes. What would have been the better way to get out of that zone of like, they were just selling it for €5, 2 packs for €5.
Mm-hmm.
How could have we gotten out of that gracefully and said, hey, we're not going to do these discounts anymore?
You run it for a much shorter period of time. Mm-hmm. So when I say they ran this maybe for, I'd say 2-3 years. I kept seeing these makeup wipes 2 for €5. What they should have done is should be looking at kind of a much shorter span in supermarkets, retail. It's fast, turnover is fast. People are making decisions on the go. And when it comes to supermarkets, they're not really thinking. It's very fast decision-making process, you know, from consumers. It's not like buying a car or a house. So 6 weeks, 3 weeks, see how it goes, assess the situation. But now you're looking at it, all those lovely club cards you all have, the loyalty schemes, that's giving them the information faster than they ever had it before. So if you want the discounts, great, but they're tracking all that information. And you're probably looking at a lot of companies for international students when you're here. They start giving you the discounts for the brands that you're not buying. That's to see what type of consumer you are. Are you a switcher? Are you a brand loyal? What are you going to do? Are you price sensitive? So all this data that you're using on your club cards and all your loyalty cards is being used to generate profiles about you and demographics. So they know when do you go into the supermarket, what time you're going in, how long you're spending in the supermarket, what you're buying, are you going for the deals, are you using your coupons, what are you actually doing? All that is being tracked to understand where you are. So when you're in a shop, say like River Island, when you're in, I'm trying to think of the ones that haven't left the county all of a sudden, or the city. When you're in Topshop, Topshop is left, hasn't it? River Island was New Look. Next. So when you go in there, it's not by default that all their setup and their layout is where it is. And they're constantly testing and doing experimentation to see if they move items around, will you actually move around the shop as well? And the success of that. So all of that is done purposely through experimental marketing to see how can we actually create more profit, more sales. So everything you do is being tracked. And you might think that. Next time you might be a bit more, do I really want to go around here? Do I want to do this? What am I going to buy? Everything has a purpose from a marketing point of view. And it's really important because attract, engage, delight. Yes?
I think one of the good example of inbound marketing that I came across Canvas is the slot.
Sold, tên của cái boy. Sold, tên của cái boy mà bạn biết đó.
And they were like, follow us on Instagram. Things were like this way cool. So like again, like they're actively now posting, so maybe the attract was there.
Yeah.
And engagement, they organize some kind of a music like concert kind of thing, like something that was engaged. And I think I don't know what other delight would be there. But like the free goodie that they gave, I was just confused at whether that would be attract or that would be delight.
So what they're doing is they're in the engagement stage. So they attract you in. So if you went on their Instagram and followed them, you're already you're engaging with the company. Now you actually consume from them. Now they need to keep you. So you're happy, you're in the delight stage. Now they want to move you through back again. The point is to keep it moving and keep you in that cycle. They don't want you leaving because that's like a fun. So what they want to do is keep you spinning. So you've already, because you've signed on, you've subscribed, you've got your goodie, you've engaged, you're delighted with it, you're moving through again. So you're no longer in awareness, you're no longer considering them, you made your decision. So you have to think of your flywheel and your buyer's journey, which we'll be covering as well in more detail, working in tandem. So they want you to come back into another aspect that and make you more aware of something else than what they offered you in the first place. So it's to move you into a new awareness stage and keep you with the original offer. So it's to build and build. Think about it like a supermarket. You go in with a basket. Their job is to make you come back with the trolley the next time. That's what the inbound marketing is. So we want you in with a basket, and then we want you to come back over and over again with more baskets and a bigger trolley and spend more time with us and recommend. So what you've just done is you've just actually championed the delight stage, because the whole point of delight is word of mouth. Because when we talk about users and user-generated content, it's the user-to-user experience that really keeps the delight stage going. So the fact you've now had such a positive experience and shared it with everyone, some people in the room might be going, no, wasn't aware of that. Now they're going to be aware of it, and now you move more people into their flywheel by saying it. And that's the point that companies want. They want those that are in the flywheel to recommend it to people that are not in the flywheel and get more and more in, keep it spinning, and get more and more numbers in. And that's how they continue. And it's the positive experience to delight and to keep you going with more purchases and more other decisions that you're going to make with them. That's what they want. And the more content that they're going to post out to you, the problem becomes, how do they keep it relevant? And we're going to talk about remarkable content. What are they doing to keep it remarkable in your eyes? Or is Starbucks going to come in next week and suddenly have something else for you? Or is Bank of Ireland going to have something from completely left field? Or is Friars going to do something very exciting? So it's that they're watching the competition saying, I need to get the students first while they're here, so then we keep them for the rest of their term here. This is fundamental to your course. And you look at contacts, and we're going to say people who buy them, lists, don't do it. Don't ever do it. It may seem great saying, oh, we have 10,000 on the database. Yeah, is that 10,000 or is that like 10 people and you just boosted it with a buying list? So always make sure that your context and those who are within your company are your customers, genuine customers, prospective customers. Buyer personas, we're going to talk about that a lot next week. We're going to be working on it. Buyer's journey, we're going to have worksheets, you're going to be working on that next week as well. We have content and goals. I do want to talk in terms of, as well, goals. Please, please, please go back over your slides this week and get in, really finesse your grips with SMART goals. So just saying, I want to be on Instagram is not a SMART goal. My company. You have to think, why are you going to be on Instagram? What growth do you want to see? What percentage? Who do you want that growth to be over what time frame? So you have to be specific, measurable, achievable or actionable, realistic and timely. And every year, students evaluate, I give you a specific goal, I give you a measurable goal. That's not what I want. I want all of that captured in one objective, one SMART goal. There's an example of that in your lecture notes this week to start you off in that process. And I know you don't like quant, but you have to get used to the quant aspect. When you're setting yourself a goal, it has to be based on homework as well. So I know you may not have access to databases. If you want a 5% increase, 10% increase, what are you basing that on? 10% from what? So 10%, without giving me the data, I don't know what that 10% means. It's like you just plucked it out of the air and said, she wants a number, I'm giving her a number, there we go. So again, evidence. Why is that 10% important if you're over 10%? Maybe it's a 50%. It depends on the company, the context, the demographics, who you're going after, the division, the market, the products. So again, all of that comes together. Here you see lovely marketing Michelle. So she's familiar with this. So this, if you go into HubSpot, they have a buyer persona, a creator. And while it's lovely, they only have certain aspects that you can look at. So it's very kind of restricted in the columns that it's looking at. And when I say this to classes and to students, I want you to create your own personas. So there's data if you work for a company, if you run your own company, which a lot of you do. You have a lot of information and golden nuggets there that you need to capture on your own personas. Those little aspects that you know about someone, or that will have a meaning to someone that don't for others. So maybe I might say, okay, we're going to talk about horse riding this week. Okay, that's a little nugget from my marketing class that I might know. And it's going to be relatable to some of you. I might talk about, less stress, more success. Maybe that's going to be on up the back. And then we have, that kind of Oksana. She's our adventurer. She's doing this, that, the other, moving around, doing a lot of stuff. So there's that kind of mentality that we're building on. Or maybe it's going to be dogs. Maybe it's going to be my Doberman online. Maybe it's going to be my mixed breed. So there's lots of different things. Those little nuggets, you capture those. Because that differentiates you from your competitors. Because the others don't know that about that person. So, and that can't be captured in some of the very stagnated sections that HubSpot put in that actual persona creator. It's a great starting point, but build your own persona on the information contained that you know about your database and what they do, what's relatable to them, what are they looking for. And as I said in your lecture this week, it's called a singular name, but when you do your research, I do not want research done on one person. Michelle could represent 10,000 to 100,000 people. It's all analysed within that context of creating one persona for that group. So when you do your persona research, and I will ask for the evidence, don't just say, oh, I did this and I looked at one person, because that's an immediate, you lost a lot of marks on the assignment. And that will be one of the aspects of your first assignment. So just make sure Michelle represents the group, not an individual. The buyer's journey, and this is where I was saying it's in tandem now with your flywheel. So awareness, consideration, decision. We're going to be going through all of this and what you're going to do. You have a starting point this week in your lecture notes. You want to move people through the buyer's journey. So this is where I said, are you hanging on to those orders in ASOS at the moment? Going, oh, will I, won't I, will I? We're going to move you. The whole point is to push you into decision and out and empty that cart. Some companies do this for you. So if you shop with Dunn's, they'll empty your cart if you haven't even done it after an hour. So they're like, no, you're gone. Go shop again. So some companies will let you hold, others won't. So they're looking at different buyer journey patterns. So they're collecting data going, no, don't want that, hold it. But the others that are holding the information, they're keeping you in their inbound marketing strategy. They're going to come back to you and tailor the content towards you to get you, push you through the buyer's journey. Example, so as I said before, you can work it out using the formula as you see in the first 5, and then SMART goal at the end. It's just one sentence. So at the end of this month, our blog will see an 8% lift in traffic by increasing our weekly publishing frequency from 5 posts per week to 8 posts per week. There's no questions. When you create your own goal, if you're asking yourself a question, you haven't finished it yet. So if there's still something I know exactly what that company is going to do. I know exactly what that's going to achieve. So all of the aspects of the SMART are represented in that. So it's important to keep that in mind. Canva. Very nervous to say this now. But Canva, if you want to get a starting point and work with it just to see it, just to use it, it is used quite a lot in marketing, digital marketing. Some companies love it. Sam, you say some companies hate it and won't hire if you use it. But get familiar, or PowerPoint. Watch all those different kind of videos and tutorials in terms of how you can actually boost what you're doing. And that is it for this week. What I will do is your groups, I have them set. I just want to do some checking just to make sure that if there's any late arrivals who arrived today or to Monday that I want you captured in the listing. You will be presenting from week 3 onwards, so really, you'll also be presenting next week. So another week where I go through what I expect from you. There's a lot that we have to take in. How many new people that you have to learn about today? There's a lot you have to take in. So like that, you have your first week overview, your first week of your master's program. So well done, it's great weather, have an ice cream before walking the prom, do something exciting. I know there's a lot of people here that love the culture. So go enjoy your weekend and we shall